Stomach. Jesus, that's so unprofessional. So unprofessional. I'm so sorry. um, I know that like a lot of you are like homing pigeons. What the fuck? But I can almost guarantee as soon as we get to talking or you get to thinking, you're gonna be like, yeah, you know what? That never made sense to me either. So I've been fascinated. I've been fascinated with Tartaria and old world bullshit since long before Tartaria was a thing. I denied slavery and the Native American genocide and, you know, all of it. All of it just sounds really stupid to me. And lo and behold, the more you look into things, the more you start to realize like it's all bullshit. So I've been, I mean, I'm married. So if you've been married for, 20 years like I have, you know, like when I say my wife doesn't, she's she's ambivalent to all of it. She doesn't really care, right? She, in her mind, what does it matter? It's fascinating, but it's not really not her thing, so to speak. But she's very smart and very inquisitive, and because of which, the concepts that we're questioning behind Tartaria, maybe doesn't care about Tartaria as much, but definitely has those questions. And she was a straight A student, but always hated history, and hated history because it just wasn't true. You would learn something in first, second, third, in elementary school, and then by middle school, you're starting to hear how, well, maybe that wasn't quite true. How about this one? That the blood, Lucas said this one to me. The blood in your veins isn't blue.
I also didn't know what disposition meant.
No. The idea that the blood in your veins is blue until the oxygen hits it, that's not true. Apparently that's not true. Look it up. Apparently it's not true. That's what I said. I was like, "What?" He's like, "Dude, apparently that's not a thing." Just like your kidneys are now up here. All those years of watching boxing and kidney shots being back here. Nope, they're up here.
Bullshit.
They're underneath your lungs.
I saw the length of the tube they pulled out of my kidney when they pulled it out. It was like this long. So no, it didn't travel up my back from where the hole is.
Apparently it did.
No, it didn't.
Apparently it did.
My kidney got saved. Fuck them.
Look it up.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Your blood is not blue inside your veins.
Bullshit.
Let's see. Look it up, because I don't want to lose. So, me being me, I'm always questioning things. The bird coming home is no problem. They know where they live, yet you have to take the bird away and release it. Yeah, well, that's pointless. That's literally pointless. The only time that would work out is, again, if you took the bird to somebody and you were like, all right, I guess you'll have your answer in a couple weeks. When you do, put it in the bird's fucking foot and, hey, let's hope it gets home. Let's hope it comes. What happens? What about all of the messages that never made it back?
Okay, so what am I looking at?
Blood blue. Look up, or what about, and how would they even know? How long would it be before the pigeon didn't come home? Before you were like, hey, maybe the pigeon died. It's fucking ridiculous. But that's the point. So throughout all of the reading that we do lately, where we're looking into all of these different historic things, these narratives we're given, one of the things that seems very apparent in the narrative we're given is that people had the ability to communicate over long distances. And the question is always like, how? How the fuck did they do it? And so my wife's, favorite answer, and unfortunately the one that, that I guess the only answer we have, and we always sort of joke about it, and we joke about it, outside of these conversations, like the pigeons did it, is that the pigeons were doing, the carrier pigeons.
So apparently the way the light reflects off of our skin and veins is what it makes it appear to look, but it's red, and then richer red as it gets oxygenated.
I know for a fucking fact.
Told us it was blue.
We were taught that, yes. I know for a fucking fact I was taught that. And I know she, wanting to have been a doctor, like, she paid attention to that part. It wasn't like it was history. It was the part that she did like. So she paid attention. And I know blood being blue, like, I've known that since I was little. That was,
Because it was a cool fact to tell your kids. Something to get them interested in their own bodies.
Right.
Beyond their nose, their eyes, their,
It was never like, well, the reflection off the light in the veins and the... That was never the answer. So...
Yeah, see, this is saying that your kidneys are much higher. This is... Nope. My kidneys are not by my heart.
Yeah. This is what they say your kidneys are. This is where they say your kidneys are.
My kidneys are not by my heart.
Your scar is right here.
On my back.
Right here.
The tube they pulled out was
it's about 2 inches from her tailbone.
The tube they pulled out of my back was this fucking long. The tube that went from the outside to directly into my kidney and was there for 4 months.
This is saying your kidneys are like right underneath your rib cage. Even protected by your rib cage.
But up by your heart. No fucking way. Nope. Not my kidneys.
Not my chair, not my problem.
If they had pulled tube out and it had been long, I could see where that would be the case.
I know someone with homing pigeons. They release them 100 miles away, and the birds will make it home in around 4 to 6 hours.
That's like taking a dog camping, and somehow the dog finds his way home.
Yeah,
he smells it home. But did you send it to your Aunt Mabel's house? And then home?
You sent it to a specific address. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Again, if you're just going to take the bird to the place, then you don't need that. The only reason you would need you would be like, here's a pigeon, let me know when the child is born.
Now, if you lived in one house and the pigeon knew how to leave and come back to that house, and then you moved to another house, and you released the pigeon and the pigeon went to your first house, that's great. How do you tell the pigeon, don't go to house 1, go to house 2 this time?
And it's one thing to say, we went somewhere and released the pigeons and they went. What about, like, the pigeons hanging out at this place for a while? Right. You have, like, you're waiting for the baby to be born, so you have to have the pigeon in the place for maybe a week, 2 weeks, a month.
You keep it in the cage.
Yeah.
The door shut.
Right. And then as soon as it's like, all right, I'm going back home.
Well, I think it knows when you're affixing the message on its leg.
Don't leave. I'm doing fucking pigeons. What are you leaving for?
It's like...
Go ahead. I thought you'd want to know.
Putting the harness on, the backpack on the dog.
They only go home, he says. I mean, that makes sense. That's not a way of communicating. That's not a two-way conversation that can happen. So, the homing pigeon is a variety of domestic pigeon, Columbia Levia domestica, selectively bred for its ability to find its way home over extremely long distances. Again, how do you figure that out? I mean, think about this. It's the 1500s, whatever it is. You're the pigeon guy. How do you even travel the couple of 100 miles away to be able to let the pigeons go so they can find their way home? And again, does that even require training or anything? I mean,
No, I think they just let them go
right,
from home. They fly around and then make it back home. And they're like, oh my God.
right. Well, but those are the ones that but you have to take them there. So the breeder, like, we're talking hundreds of miles of travel back in the 1500s, 16, whatever hundreds. This took months. You know, this wasn't something you did over the weekend.
No, they have their journeys.
Right. So the breeder is taking the pigeons hundreds of miles away only to come back home. Like, it would take, the pigeons would get home way before he would.
Maybe, but he's got a wife at home to welcome them.
Right. Because the wife doesn't have enough going on.
What does she gotta do? Put some water and worms in it?
No, she has to, like, fucking, knead the fucking flour and every time they want bread. She has to go chop down a tree so she can put it in the stove. And well, actually, you can't chop down a tree because you have to have the wood that's dried for a long. So she has to have. But I mean, everyday normal life in the 15, 16 was impossible. Literally, just if you're in a community, right, and everybody has to hunt for their own food, that food resource is going to go really quickly.
Well, you're also gonna not eat like an American.
Sure.
You know, you learn portion control.
Yeah, but if we're talking about the people who are marching hundreds of miles, they need fuel. You would have to eat a lot.
I mean, I follow. I'm in the homesteading groups, so I'm seeing a lot of these people living like they're in the 1500s.
Oh yeah, except for their fucking,
traveling,
except for their cell phone.
Right, they do have their
Right.
their cell
and
phone.
and everything that you don't see, all of their modern day conveniences, and most of the shit, their knife that they bought, their fishing pole that they bought.
Well, a lot of them make their own poles. I've seen that. Their own, they do their own plumbing. Some of them don't have plumbing.
Yeah.
So.
But the way that they were able to do that
is using technology in order to at least learn the skills.
And even then, like, yeah, a lot of them are homesteaders, but they also had a bunch of materials brought in. Sure, they're living off the land, but they had to build the plumbing, the house, all that. The big container they had dropped off. The fucking welding torch they used to cut the tree. Yeah, they're great.
The guys that was on Alone is in the group, and like his whole setup is
awesome.
All handmade.
No, it's not. He didn't.
Cut his trees down. Oh, he went through the whole.
Yeah, he didn't make his saw.
No, he didn't make his saw.
Right.
Sure. Well, maybe he did. I don't fucking.
He
know.
didn't. He was not fabricating metal. Metal fabrication is hard work. You need modern day processes. I would love to see somebody fabricate a saw using old school fucking methods. Yeah, you go ahead and get yourself a little wood burning stove and see how long it takes you to fabricate that saw. Cut each individual little tooth and then sharpen it and all. Come the fuck on.
No, they would melt the metal, make the mold, melt the metal, pour it into the mold, let it dry, and then they pound it into.
Yeah. They make the mold. Make the mold. You have to make the mold. It's like the brick building factories made of bricks. Well, they had to build the original kilns to make all the original bricks so they could build the factory and then the kilns inside that. Like, what are we even talking about? Where did all the materials come for all the bricks? This is one of these things nobody fucking talks about. Nobody looks at, nobody questions, because you're a dumbass if you question bricks. Who fucking questions bricks? Me. Look into the history of bricks. Look into the brick making process. You're talking about so much material that goes not only into the brick itself, but the resources necessary to create the kiln, and then to maintain the fire in the kiln to be able to use, like, it's, we are talking about such an incredible fucking process, especially when you're talking about bricks that last for fucking ever.
So one of the girls in the homesteading group is a sculptor, and she made her own underground kiln using the earth, like clay mud and shit like that, you know. So she has her own kiln, and she did make it all by hand using, you know.
Sure, it's not hard to do for your personal use.
Yeah, not for mass production.
For commercial purposes and mass production, this is a whole different story.
She sells her wares, but in little.
And the other thing is, you don't know what's not shown by those people. Those people are still in 2025. If they get hurt, they can go to the hospital.
Right.
If they get desperate or something bad happens, they can go stay somewhere. Right.
Yeah.
They have all sorts of supplies that they just don't show you. It's a performance. If the pigeons hang out at a new place, they won't go home because they think that's their home. So there you go.
So then how do you tell them, okay, go to Aunt Bernie's?
He's saying they only come home. He's saying that they only. So again, it takes you a couple of months to, like, okay, so we're talking about 1500s me. Even let's say I live on the river. It's going to take me such a long time to load up all those pigeons on the boat itself, then take the boat the 100, 200, 300 miles away. Like I guess you would have to go upstream to release them, and then downstream back home, because you're in a race back home.
But the other thing, though, too, is, so now they're at this other place. Now they think that's home. What's going to make them come back to your home? Okay, so if they do come back to your home, and you go to release them again, what's going to make them go back there? They think this is their home. Why aren't they just going to fly around, meet some friends, and then come back home?
Well, and what happens, like, as far as, like, you really can't say anything important.
Oh, no, that's the thing.
Right, you never know.
The important messages to get there faster than a man on horse could.
Right, but how do you guarantee that pigeon makes it? What if that pigeon is a fucking traitor and flies to the bad guy's house? You didn't know.
That's the thing, like in Game of Thrones, the ravens carried all the, like, mega important, serious messages, and that was my thought, like, how do they know this was going to get to the king and not to the... It just makes no sense.
And again, how long do you wait? How do you even know that the person sent you a pigeon message to begin with?
Because they sent you one back.
No, I'm saying the original one.
Yeah, but it's protocol to send a message back.
I know the original message. You're sitting there and the pigeon shows up. How did you know the pigeon was going to show up? You weren't given a heads up, hey, I'm sending you a pigeon.
No, it shows up in the area designated for the pigeons. They hear the pigeon. I don't know if there's like a little intercom system through the castle, but they hear the pigeon, and then they go and, like, oh, the pigeon's back. Let's take the message.
That's not what I'm saying. Like, again, there's the original thing. The original, I sent you a pigeon message. If you're not expecting the pigeon, you don't, like, and if you're not expecting the pigeon and the pigeon doesn't show up, you never knew you missed the message to begin with.
Right.
Well, how long does that other person wait?
They send a second raven if they don't hear back in a certain amount of time. What that time period is, I don't know.
Yeah, that's Game of Thrones. Yeah, that's Game of Thrones. Right, but what's the time period? Like, it's all just, it's such a completely unreliable, idea. It's just fucking dumb. He has some take and release the birds on the same day, and they always make it back. Yeah, I mean, again, that's easy. That's modern day shit. What?
on a horse. They could get robbed. They could get killed. They could get sick along their journey. There's no guarantee that that message made it, right?
Right.
So,
I mean, we're talking about just ridiculous.
ridiculous.
We're talking about a society that clearly had a different way of communicating, or at least a similar way of communicating that we do. They had to have. This pigeon bullshit don't make no sense. Okay, wait. Let's just see. Because of the skill, we don't know if it's the skill in breeding or the skill of the pigeons. Homing pigeons were used to carry messages, a practice referred to as pigeon post. Until the introduction of telephones, they were used commercially to deliver communication. When used during wars, they were called war pigeons. Right. I mean, you're going to send war correspondence by pigeon?
And a pigeon's gonna fly into the bullets to get to the general or whoever.
I gotta get home. I gotta get home. You know how dangerous that would be? Do you know how many, like the success rate of the pigeon thing would have to be like 50-50? Maybe.
Well, and once you learn this, aren't you like
Looking for
immediately
pigeons.
shooting down every pigeon you see?
Exactly. Like it's
Eat
just,
them
right.
to send a message.
You get food and you intercept the message. The homing pigeon is also called a mail pigeon, MAIL, or messenger. A colloquial,
Yes.
does there colloquial? And colloquially,
Colloquially.
a homer. Perhaps most common, I hate that word. Most commonly, the homing pigeon is called a carrier pigeon. Like, look at how they're just like, and then it's called this, and then, because they know. This nomenclature can be confusing, though, since it is distinct from the English carrier, an ancient breed of fancy pigeon. Oh, I know I was confused. Somebody brought up the homing pigeon. I'm like, wait, are you talking about the fancy pigeon from English time, ancient times? And you mean that one, right? I know that would be my first thought. Modern day pigeons do have English carrier blood in them because they are part of descendants of the old style carriers. Well, didn't they say we actually killed those pigeons off and there aren't anymore? Isn't that what it was?
No idea.
The domestic pigeon is derived from the wild rock dove. The rock dove has an innate homing ability, meaning that it will generally return to its nest using magnetoreception, magnetoreception, I don't know. Flights as long as 1,800 kilometers, 1,100 miles, have been recorded by birds in competitive homing pigeon racing. Who has nothing else going on? That they have the fucking... No, I
People race snails and bet money on it.
Yeah, but you don't have to go anywhere.
No, but that takes a long fucking time.
Yeah, that is awful. Birds bred for this are colloquially God damn it. Colloquially called racing homers. Homing pigeons' average flying speed over moderate 965 kilometers, 600 miles distance is around 60 miles per hour, and speeds of up to 100 miles per hour have been observed in top racers for short distances. 100-mile-an-hour pigeons. Pull your glasses down, Renob. A stamp for early pigeongram service. They actually had stamps. Pigeons had... I can't accept this.
I want a pigeon stamp.
I cannot accept this message. I am sorry. There is no stamp on this message. I believe this message required 3 stamps and you only put 2.
Well, it had to have the wax seal of the family, like the crest or whatever.
Evidence exists suggesting that homing pigeons, sweetheart, not the fancy ones from Europe. Homing
I
pigeons.
only accept messages from fancy pigeons.
My guy with the pigeons does the racing. That is crazy. Evidence suggests. Does he look like a bird? Does your guy that with the does he have like that weird long neck and the shoulders that sort of they're not like broad. They go like woo, like that. You know, like Trent Dilfer. Evidence suggests that homing pigeons were used for pigeon post in ancient Egypt by 1350 BC. That's minus 1350. So that's what? That's 3,000 plus years ago. Messages were tied around the legs of the pigeon, which was freed and could reach its original nest. Pliny the Elder described pigeons used in a similar fashion as military messengers around the 1st century CE. By the 19th century, homing pigeons were used extensively for military communications. Again, that is just fucking stupid. That is just fucking stupid. I mean, seriously. So if you raise them in your one place and then you take them to the other place to be used for messages as messages were needed, how long can you keep them before they think the new place is their home, like you said? Seems like that window would be pretty short. Look at Nathan. The use of flying messenger pigeons was well established over 3,000 years ago. They were used to proclaim the winner of the ancient Olympics. So again, the Olympics is in town. Just okay. I hate to deviate once again, but just think about it. So it's the Olympics every 4 years.
Are you getting into an Olympic tangent?
Well, but just think about like all of the different countries that participated in said Olympics sending their representatives to travel across the non-modern world, the ancient world's road systems and shit. Like imagine all these Olympians descending on this place, and then I guess their families and shit too, that doesn't have refrigeration. That doesn't have, like, where are all these people staying? How did all that fucking work? And then so what we're supposed to believe that every place that had a representative at the Olympics or whatever would raise pigeons, then send their pigeon along with the participants, and then they would just be housed and kept, okay, this is the pigeon for this person. And then if they won, or when the race was over, they would write down the results and then let the pigeon fly home. And somebody was in charge of all of those different pigeons and sending all of those different pigeons back to their place. Like, just think about the logistics of such a dumb-ass thing. Messenger pigeons were used as early as 1150 in Baghdad, and also later by Genghis Khan. It's like they're name dropping right now, just so you know Genghis Khan.
And he didn't grab him, squash him, and eat him? Like, really?
By
he was like this.
By 1167, not 65, not 70, 1167,
He might as well just be saying blah, blah, blah to me.
A regular service between Baghdad and Syria had been established by Sultan Nur ad-Din. A regular pigeon service. In Damitia, by the mouth of the Nile, the Spanish traveler Pedro Tefur saw carrier pigeons for the first time. Wait. So what about all those people prior to in the Olympics and shit? He had never seen a carrier pigeon. He was in Spain. Spain didn't participate in the Olympics and have their winners announced by carrier pigeon? Well, that don't make no sense. This motherfucker was a goddamn traveler, the Spanish traveler, and he didn't see fucking carrier pigeons until 1436, not 1435, not 1440. He remembers it well. It was a chilly day. I was traveling, as I often did, when I noticed there was some shit on my head. And I saw a pigeon then land. And next to it was a message. And I read the message. And it was for somebody else. But I was like, this is cool.
I sent it on its way.
Right.
And it made it.
I was like, oh no, pigeon. I am not Sir Robin. He lives further down the road. And the pigeon was like, and went off on its own. I'm just glad that works. If that wouldn't have worked out, if that didn't come out right, that would have been sounded really stupid. But it's funny, so it worked out. It's not like I'm skilled in my pigeon impression, but hey, the Republic of Genoa equipped their system of watchtowers in the Mediterranean Sea post with pigeon posts. Tipu Sultan of Mysore, 1750 to 1799, also used messenger pigeons. They returned to the Hamaya Masjid Mosque in Sirapakatapatapatata, which was his headquarters. The pigeonholes may be seen in the mosque's minarets to this day. Really? They just stopped, though? They just stopped using them? A great pigeon race called the Cannonball Run took place in Brussels in 1818. Why was it called the Cannonball Run if it was a pigeon race? What are we talking about? Pigeon post was rare before the 1820s. What? What are we... That's not a very good transition. A great pigeon race called the Cannonball Run took place in Brussels in 1818. Pigeon post was rare before the 1820s? Doesn't sound like it.
Right.
Sounds like it was pretty fucking common. In 1860, Paul Reuter, who later founded Reuters press agency, used a fleet of over 45 pigeons to deliver news and stock prices between Brussels and Aachen.
About stock prices, huh? Stock prices.
The terminus of early telegraph lines. Oh my God. Reuters was founded off of pigeon labor. Get the fuck out of here.
And then we graduated children.
Get the fuck out of here. Reuters had a fleet of 45 badass pigeons that he would use to send stock prices between Brussels and Aachen, the terminus of early telegraph lines. If telegraph lines existed, why are you still using carrier pigeons?
You have stocks, for God's sake.
Stock prices. Just like one of those going in the wrong hands could be detrimental. During the Franco-Prussian War, pigeons were used to carry mail between besieged Paris and the French unoccupied territory. I mean, again, so the unoccupied territory was where a bunch of pigeons were bred so that Paris could send messages to them. Or was it just Paris? Like everybody who was anybody associated with the royalty of Paris also carried a pigeon with them just in case they needed to get a message to the king real quick. Oh shit! The king has to know this. Good thing I have this pigeon with me.
Traveled with him.
Right. With everything else you got going on in 1500s, 1600s, 1800s travel, you also had a pigeon with you. That is ridiculous. Ridiculous. In December of 1870, it took 10 hours for a pigeon carrying microfilms to fly from Perpignan to Perpignan.
Perpignan to Brussels.
Perpignan. It took 10 hours for pigeons carrying microfilms. You're going to risk your precious... What do they have? A whole bunch of copies?
Feet are made of hollow bones, right? They have to be lightweight in order for them to get the lift they need to be able to fly. So you are now adding density to those hollow bones. Are they flying like this?
Yes. You have to make sure.
I can't.
You have to make sure so if you want it to go directly to the north, you have to release it to the west. So it'll fly and just gradually, and it'll go. That's how they did it. Historically, pigeons carried messages only one way, to their home. They had to be transported manually before another flight. However, by placing their food at one location and their home at another location, pigeons have been trained to fly back and forth up to twice a day reliably, covering round-trip flights up to 100 miles. So the pigeon is like, this whole time I'm flying, I could be getting other food. But I'm not going to. I'm going to fly all the way over back here. Like, in theory, on paper, it's, oh, yeah, no, I guess, okay. You put the food in one location and you put, okay, their home is at, okay, no. Right? Yeah. They only ate when you told them to. Now we're saying that's, well, they were bred that way. They were bred that they can literally fly anywhere they want to in the world and do anything they want to along that trip, but they don't. Their reliability has lent itself to occasional use on mail routes, such as the Great Barrier Pigeongram service, established between Auckland, New Zealand, suburb of Newton, and Great Barrier Island in November of 1897. Possibly the first regular airmail service in the world. The world's first airmail stamps were issued for the Great Barrier Pigeongram service from 1898 to 1908. You know, in that magical time when we could do all kinds of magical shit. In the 19th century, newspapers sometimes used carrier pigeons. What? To get news from Europe quicker, some New York City newspapers used carrier pigeons.
Quicker.
Because instead of doing anything else, the pigeons were like, fuck it, let's just fly over the Atlantic Ocean. We'll be all right. And like she's saying, you know, I mean, the pigeon's leg is that big.
They're hollow.
Right, but they're this long. What news story are you attaching? Like, how small do you have to write it? What are they writing in?
And it's hand
To be able to even if it's just some sort of cuneiform, some sort of shorthand bullshit,
if you write that small with a fountain pen and ink, it will blur together and you will not be able to read anything. I've used a quill and pad before, and it does not.
I mean, by the 1900s, they had writing stuffs. But I mean, like, even
You can't write in pencil because if he flies in the rain or lands in a puddle, you're fucked.
no,
So
you
it has to be pen. And even still, how do you keep that? Go away.
the distance from Europe to Halifax, Nova Scotia is relatively short. So reporters stationed themselves in Halifax, wrote the information received from incoming ships, and put the messages in capsules attached to the legs of homing pigeons. The birds would then fly from Halifax to New York City, where the information would be published. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. The Swiss Army stopped using pigeons in 1994. They're still using carrier pigeons in 1994. The military had used pigeons for 77 years and said it planned to train 12 of the 30,000 birds to compete on the European racing circuit. The rest were likely to end up on people's dinner tables.
They ate them. I told you.
Oh, I'm all about, well, the pigeon burritos we used to get. And so there was this place in San Diego called Roberto's. And they used to give the best, they had such great food. It was right there down by the beach. And down by the beach, there were pigeons just fucking everywhere. Except by Roberto's, where you would only see little scraggly ones. And they offered you this chicken burrito that was packed with dark meat, and it was huge and it was cheap because it was fucking pigeons. I used to literally order it. Like, let me get one of them pigeon burritos. And they just look at me. We know what you mean. Homing pigeons were still employed in the 21st century by certain remote police departments in Odisha State in eastern India to provide emergency communication services following natural disasters. I mean, so if you're keeping these pigeons for emergency communications, where are they going to go? They know that is their home. So in an emergency, you're saying somebody's going to go far out somewhere and then send the message back to you with the carrier pigeon that you just happen to keep around? In March 2002, it was announced that India's police pigeon service messenger system in Odisha was to be retired due to the expanded use of the internet. The Taliban banned the keeping or use of pigeons, including racing pigeons, in Afghanistan in the late 90s. Those monsters. Fucking Taliban. Not letting us use animals for how we want them to be used. Like, doesn't that sound like they're like better than you? They banned it. They were using pigeon lookalike controlled. Yeah, this is getting wild, isn't it? To this day, pigeons are still entered into competition. Research has been performed with the intention of discovering how pigeons, after being transported, can find their way back from distant places they have never visited before. Most researchers believe that homing pigeons' ability is based on a map and compass model, with the compass feature allowing birds to orient and the map feature allowing birds to determine their location relative to the goal site, home loft. While the compass mechanism appears to rely on the sun, the map mechanism has been highly debated. Get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, this is just silly to me. War pigeons. War pigeons. Homing pigeons have long played an important role in war. Due to their ability, speed, and altitude, they are often used as military messengers because they are less likely to be intercepted by enemy forces. Carrier pigeons of the racing Homer breed were used to carry messages in World War I and World War II, and 32 pigeons were presented with the Dickin Medal. 32 such pigeons were presented with the Dickin Medal. They
They got
presented
medals. They put them. They
pigeons
put it on their mantle.
with medals.
They put it on their mantles. They have their own little box, and they set it on their mantles next to pictures of their ancestors, because they all come from a long line of carriers.
Well, you have to have a nice place for them to want to come back to.
Well, yeah.
You gotta let them. You might not agree with their decorating style, but you gotta let them do it.
100%.
So along with all the shit all over the newspaper, they also have their medals sitting there. Like, hey, I got that. Yeah. Is it a little tiny medal that they stick to them? Hold up. What are they celebrating? Exactly. Catch the pigeon. Wacky racist style. What do I think about Mike Tyson? I don't. Medals such as the Croix de Guerre. Go ahead, tell me how I'm saying that wrong. The Croix de Guerre. Croix de Guerre. Awarded to Cher Amy, and the Dickin Medal. It's the Dickin Medal. Dickin. Sounds like chicken. Dickin. Awarded to the pigeons. Oh my God. And the Dickin Medal awarded to the pigeons G.I. Joe and Patty, amongst 32 others, have been awarded to pigeons for their services in saving human lives. Pigeons have had a 95% success rate in delivering their messages.
Okay, so we give,
We gave pigeons.
We give canine officers medals.
I know. That's fucking stupid. Well, but they're dogs, and I like dogs, so that's okay if you like it.
I mean...
No. These animals, no police dog wants to be a police dog. None of them. Police dogs should be fucking illegal. Do you know how awful that is? That dog doesn't want to be doing that shit.
It wants to be working and pleasing you.
Right.
Not being put in the, line of fire.
Line of fire, dangerous situation. Have to bite people and shit. You ever seen the police dogs, what they do to people? Oh, it's brutal. But they don't want to fucking be there. They don't want to do that shit. Why that's still legal is beyond me, especially with how unreliable it is. You don't think that dog knows the difference between if I go to that car and I sit down, I'm going to get a whole bunch of love, as opposed to if I go to that car and I don't sit down, the guy will be like, all right, good job, buddy, and take me into the car. You see the praise they get for identifying? We saw one the other day, we were watching it, where they didn't show it, of course. They showed the dog jumping up and scratching all over the fucking car as it was searching. And then they cut to the next scene where the cop's going, yeah, the dog must have smelled something. I think it's in the driver's side passenger door. The dog sat down right by the driver's side passenger door, so I'm sure it's there. They ended up finding something, but it was on the passenger fucking side, underneath the seat of the passenger side. Mm-hmm. He was completely 100% wrong. Ice voodoo doll found in Uptown New York.
No, New Orleans.
New Orleans, sorry.
Where all the voodoo is.
Right.
They're fucking...
I mean, it's... This shit is fucking wild. Like, the narrative we're given over and over again, I don't understand. Maybe you're not like me, and you don't question these things just because you're weird like that, right? But once you hear the questions, once you sort of, I present it to you, and you can't come up with a reasonable answer, or you see that, hey, he's kind of right. This thing doesn't make much sense. What happens after that? What do? How do you just go, oh, well, he's a dumbass. Like, I don't care. I'm just going to walk. Like, I don't get it. This shit's fascinating. As stupid as this may be, this is such a huge part of our history. And a huge part of our lives today. Like, they give service medals fucking to dog. Do you know, if I'm a human and I get the same medal that a fucking dog gets, I'm going to be like, hey, fuck you, asshole. Give me the fucking dog medal. What's wrong with you? That dog is going to die within the next 10, 15 years. And that'll be of old age if it gets there and it doesn't drink Redford water. You know, I am not the biggest, like, I don't know. I'm not the guy that wants a shit ton of animals all the time. But because I'm an animal lover, I'm not like you. I don't necessarily like the idea of keeping animals hostage. You know, and that's the truth, whether you like it or not. You open up your front door and you see what happens. You know, they don't stay in the house. Some of them might, because they're all PTSD fucking crazy. But my cats literally sit in the windows, looking out the windows all sad, like, please just let me go kill some of those things. I just want to kill some things. I'll bring you the guts, I promise. Please, I just want to kill stuff. I'm a fucking apex predator. My reflexes and shit are on levels your dumbass can't even fathom. And you're not going to let me use those skills. These God-given skills. The animals that your God created. We had a set of neighbors once that were vegan. So they made their dog be a fucking vegan too. You think that dog wanted to be vegan?
No.
You think if you would have thrown some hamburger to that dog, it would have been like, ew, are you serious?
Like, oh my God, I need the protein.
Right. The dog was little and skinny and shit. I don't keep animals for that reason. Yeah, it's fucking nuts. It's fucking nuts. We had a cat show up this last summer at our house. Just showed up one day. Was like, hey, I need a place to stay. So we were like, all right, cool. That cat literally sits in the window fucking all day long. Just like, man, let me out. Please let me go. I don't want to be here anymore. You got all these other cats. They're mean. Our pets are our prisoners. And it's usually for insecure, unstable people. I want something to love me. I just want to love something and something to love me that won't leave me because it's not allowed to. But like, I'm real big on clean the cat's litter because it's not cool for the cat to have to step in shitty litter. You know? If you have the dog, you better fucking feed it. You better take care of it. It's fucking
Your responsibility.
right. But I also don't think the dog needs to sleep in the bed, up on the couch, all that shit. And at the end of the day, it's a fucking dog. Sorry, it's not a member of the family. It's not a person. It's a dog. It's supposed to be here and protect the family should there be an opportunity for it. And, you know, like it's supposed to be the thing that's sacrificed before any human is. It's the lowest ranking on the totem pole. Every human in the house is much more important than the animal. The dog wasn't going to win any medals on a vegan diet. The dog wasn't going to win any medals in a fucking sane world. You're giving a dog a medal?
You know what the medal is in nature? The kill that you caught. The food that you foraged or sniffed out. That's the medal. That's it.
Let's see. During World War I and II, carrier pigeons were used by the Australian, French, German, American, and UK forces to transport messages back to their home coop behind the enemy lines. When they landed, wires in the coop would sound a bell or buzzer, and a soldier would of the signal corps would know a message had arrived. The soldier would go to the coop, remove the message from the canister, and send it to its destination by telegraph, field phone, or personal messenger.
They had the telegraph, but they used the pigeon instead.
They had the field phone. They had the phone. The carrier pigeon's job was dangerous. Nearby enemy soldiers often tried to shoot down pigeons, knowing that released birds were carrying important messages. Some of these pigeons became quite famous among the infantrymen for whom they worked. One pigeon named Spike flew 52 missions without receiving a single wound. Another named Cher Amy lost his foot and one eye, but his message got through, saving a large group of surrounded American infantrymen. Right. So again, these infantrymen had a pigeon with them, just in case. And while they're surrounded and they're under attack, somebody writes a message on the pigeon, releases the pigeon flies back to the coop sends the signal then oh shit, okay, and then they have to travel however long to get these. How long does that process take? From the time you write the note to the pigeon gets to the place to the time
your base camp, your infantry base camp, isn't going to be 100 miles from the front lines.
It could be. It could be pretty far.
It's going to be. No, you're going to move the base closer.
So some of those guys are out far.
So, maybe 15 miles out of firing range, but close enough.
No, there's much. Those guys were marching all over the place. And so not only that, do they also know exactly their location. They send their location over. The receiver gets the message, sends it to his higher up, who sends it to his higher up, who sends it to his higher up, who sends it to his higher up.
Yeah, but that's by telegraph and shit.
They then scramble a unit of what? I mean, I guess,
bouncer pigeons.
But I mean, think about so just a bunch of men go running in that direction?
It's the pigeon SEAL team.
They had pigeons with little tiny bombs on them? Ow! Oh, what the fuck was that? Getting raided by pigeons. Before the advent of radio, carrier pigeons were frequently used on the battlefield as a means for a mobile force to communicate with a stationary headquarters. In the 6th century BC, Cyrus, king of Persia, used carrier pigeons to communicate with various parts of his empire. In ancient Rome, Julius Caesar used pigeons to send messages to the territory of Gaul. That's it. Okay? Caesar didn't have fucking carrier pigeons going all these, just to Gaul. During the 19th century, Franco-Persia War, 1870-1871, the besieged Parisians used carrier pigeons to transmit messages outside the city. In response, the besieged Prussian army employed hawks to hunt the pigeons. But I mean, so the besieged Parisians had carrier pigeons from all different other places. Weren't they the home base?
You would think.
So how would those pigeons go out to go be like, hey, did they okay, this pigeon is from this guy over in Europe. Let's send, how long did they have that pigeon sitting there waiting just in case they needed to send a message? This shit is dumb. They used hawks. The French military used balloons to transport homing pigeons past enemy lines. The pigeons were tied to balloons?
Why?
Where did they get the helium from?
Why would they tie a balloon to a pigeon?
Why would they tie a balloon to a pigeon?
Drag. Make flying harder on top of the message that you fucking stuck to it. It's.
I am so fucking confused. Humans have intentionally filled bladders, especially actual, and I told you.
What?
When we were talking about them using bladders to hold gas, they used actual animal bladders. Because, you know, you need to hold some gas, you put it in an animal bladder you have sitting around. What? Humans have intentionally filled bladders, especially actual animal bladders, with air since prehistory. Check this out. Ew. In ancient Greece, these had a number of recorded uses. By the 18th century, that's a pretty big jump, don't you think?
Yeah.
People were inflating balloons of cloth or canvas with hot air and sending it aloft. The Montgolfier brothers going so far as to experiment with the first animals in 1782, and then, when altitude did not kill them, human beings in 1783. The first hydrogen-filled gas balloon was flown in 1790. A century later, the first hydrogen-filled weather balloons were launched in France. The first modern-day rubber balloons on record were made by Michael Faraday. That's a pretty common name. Michael Faraday. In 1824, he used these to contain gases he was experimenting with, especially hydrogen. Where were they getting hydrogen gas from?
They found it inside the animal's bladder to begin with.
By 1825, similar balloons.
Oh,
That's helium.
Oh, that's helium.
Yeah, were being sold by Thomas Hancock. But like Faraday's, they came disassembled as two circles of soft rubber. The user was expected to lay the circles on top of the other and rub their edges until the soft, gummy rubber stuck, leaving the powdered inner part loose for inflation. Sounds like a whoopee cushion. Modern pre-assembled balloons were being sold in the U.S. by the early 20th century. Here is your balloon. It's two pieces of rubber. You have to rub them with your fingers until they fuse? I don't fucking get it. Notice how that's literally, that's the end of it. That's the end of the history. Gas balloon. Let's see what gas balloon. A gas balloon is a balloon that rises and floats, blah, blah, blah. Rises and floats in the air because it is filled with a gas lighter than air, such as helium or hydrogen. When not in flight, it is tethered to prevent it from flying away and is sealed at the bottom to prevent the escape of gas. A gas balloon may also be called a Charlie for its inventor, the Frenchman Jacques Charles. Jacques Charles. Today, familiar gas balloons include large blimps and small latex party balloons. For nearly 200 years, well into the 20th century, manned balloon flight utilized gas balloons before hot air balloons became dominant.
Hello?
Without power, heat, or fuel, untethered flights of gas balloons depended on
No idea. I told you, well, nothing will happen till after work.
before without power, and dependent on the skill of the pilot. Gas balloons have greater lift for a given volume, so they do not need to be so large, and they can stay up for much longer. The first launch of a gas balloon by Jacques Charles and Les Frères Robert and Les Frères Robert in August 27, 1783 at Camp de Mars, Paris. Illustration from the late 19th century.
If you guys have a choice,
I just love this shit.
go 4:45.
Can you imagine, like, that's what life looked like back then? Look at the buildings and shit. Look at the grounds. Think about all these people standing around. Don't they have work to do?
Yeah, for sure.
Aren't they trying to eat that day? Who's this fucking guy? Is that Jacques Ferrez?
All right, I love you.
Fucking stupid, man. The first gas balloon made its flight in August 1783, designed by Professor Jacques Charles and Les Frères Robert. It carried no passengers or cargo. On December 1st, 1783, their second hydrogen-filled balloon made a manned flight piloted by Jacques Charles and Nicholas Louis Robert, a different Robert. This occurred 10 days after the first manned flight in a Montgolfier hot air balloon. The next project of Jacques Charles was the Robert brothers was La Caroline, an elongated steerable craft that follows Jean-Baptiste Menuiser's proposal for a dirigible balloon incorporating internal balloonettes, air cells. Balloonettes, it's not going to let me look up what balloonettes are? Wow, that's fucking weird. A rubber and a method of propulsion. Oh, that's just it. It included internal balloonettes that I can't look up, air cells, a rubber, and a method of propulsion. Whatever the fuck that may be, who gives a shit?
What size rubber? Was it like a Magnum?
On September 19th, 1780, not these white guys, 1784, the brothers and M. Colin Hufflin flew for 6 hours, 40 minutes, covering 186 kilometers from Paris to Beuvry, near Bethune. This was the first flight over 100 miles. Gas balloons, blah, 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 blah. It's just nothing. It's just bullshit. There's just nothing here as far as, like, historic actual uses. It's just stupid. On other planets, the Soviet Union space probes Vega 1 and Vega 2 each dropped a helium balloon with significant experiments into the atmosphere of Venus. In 1985, the balloons first entered the atmosphere and descended for about 50 kilometers, then inflated for level flight. Otherwise, the flight was uncontrolled. Each balloon relayed wind and atmospheric conditions for 46 hours of a possible 60-hour electric battery-powered budget. And yet today we still, like, they're like, hey, we're going to Venus eventually. Venus is still an anomaly. Right, there's no substance to any of this. And that's what we see consistently with these. They're like written to be high school book reports. It's actually pretty silly how just nothing these are. You know, if you want to actually learn about any of it, you're not going to. The French military used balloons to transport homing pigeons past enemy lines. I don't understand what that means. They used balloons to transport, like, so people were like, hey, you see that enemy balloon flying over here? Yeah, don't worry about it. It's not full of homing pigeons or anything, so just let it go. Microfilm images containing hundreds of messages allowed letters to be carried into Paris by pigeon from as far away as London. So wait. So where are they getting this microfilm from? More than 1 million different messages traveled this way during the 4-month siege. They were then discovered to be very useful, and carrier pigeons were considered in the military theory. Wait. Over 1 million messages were sent over a 4-month period. See this for a second? 4 months. So, um, 4 months, 120 days, we'll say. So 1 million divided by 120. That means 8,333 messages were sent every fucking day.
That's a lot of pigeons. Do they fuck like rabbits?
Do you guys get it? Like, this is the kind of shit they present you, and they hope that you just never do what I did. They hope you're never smart enough to say, hey, it would be difficult to do 1 million phone calls in a 4-month period.
We're going to send out 8,000 handwritten messages.
No, microfilm messages. Not just handwritten, but microfilms.
I mean, can they copy them if the first one doesn't get through and they have to send a second pigeon?
I don't fucking know. Well, apparently the microfilm has a whole bunch of different messages on it. So it's a microfilm with a bunch of micro messages on it that's how they were able to do it. So then they blow it up. Each micro message is blown up.
How many can fit on each microfilm? If it's 1,000, they only sent 8 pigeons.
No. Over 8,000 messages were sent. More than 1 million different messages traveled this way over a 4-month siege. 1 million different messages. That's pretty specific.
But it doesn't say there were 100 messages per pigeon, per microfilm. Microfilm. It's not specifying that. It's being very vague.
Right. Well, I'm assuming it's saying 1 million different messages, not just 1 million different.
But that
like 1 million different messages
embedded within one microfilm.
Right. So. But I'm assuming a microfilm is a scaled down reproduction of a document, typically either photographic film or paper made for the purposes of transmission, storage, reading, and printing. Microfilm images are commonly reproduced at about 4% or 1/24th the original size of the diameter, and more than 500 times in size. For higher storage density, greater optical reproductions up to 150 times may be used. So these are just 1/24th. So you're not going to have a whole bunch of different ones on one little. The formats are common: microfilm reels, microfiche, flat sheets, and aperture cards. Micro cards are also known as micro-opaques, a format no longer produced, while similar to microfiche, but printed on cardboard rather than photographic film. Cardboard is heavy. In addition to filming from original paper documents, equipment is available that accepts a data stream from a computer. Yeah, I don't care about that. Okay, using the Daguerreo type process, John Benjamin Dancer was one of the first to produce microphotographs in 1839. So, not only were photographs already available by 1839, because how else do you produce photographs? Cameras, right? Don't cameras produce photographs?
Yeah. And then you have to
okay, so the camera was around at least in 1839. For him to already be able to make micro pictures, that means cameras and film had to be around for quite a significant amount of time before you're actually doing this kind of shit.
Miniaturizing it, like what's his name's hand.
Right.
You don't miniaturize it off the bat.
Right. You biggerize it. Right. You embiggen it. He achieved a ratio of 160 to 1. He was able to make small photographs 1/160th the size of the original in 1839.
Accurately?
In 1839, when do you guys think that the camera was invented? Microphotographs are photographs shrunk to micro scale. Microphotography is the art of making such images. Applications of microphotography include espionage, such as the hollow nickel case, where they are known as microfilm. A 1 millimeter diameter micrograph in 1858. That's what this is. And what is it of? Of course, it's of a strange Tartarian style building. One This is a 1 millimeter diameter.
Picture blown up.
Okay, so then they could put a bunch of these different images on the one film.
So it was fake. They probably only sent out 8 pigeons and they had 1,000 messages on them or some shit.
Yeah, right. I don't think you could put 1,000 using the Daguerreau, Guerrero. Hector Guerrero, sorry. Daguerrero type process. John Benjamin, he achieved a Dancer perfected his reproduction pictures with Frederick Scott Archer's wet collidation process or collidion process, developed in 1850 to 51, but he dismissed his decades-long work on microphotographs as a personal hobby and did not document his procedures. Of course he didn't. The idea that microphotography could be more than a novelty was an opinion shared by the 1858 Dictionary of Photography, which called the process somewhat trifling and childish. Novelty viewing devices such as stanhopes were once a popular way to carry and view microphotographs. A stanhope or a stanhoscope is an optical device that enables the viewing of microphotographs without using a microscope. They were invented by René Dagron in 1857. Dagron bypassed the need for an expensive microscope to view the microscopic photographs by attaching a microphotograph at the end of a modified stanhope lens. He called the device bijou photo microscopies or microscopic photo jewelry. Stanhope ball. The viewing lens cylinder is located at the smaller diameter opening, and a Stanhope ring. This is 1850s technology? That's a lens. In 1851, John Benjamin Dancer just invented microphotographs using a collidation process and a microscope converted into a camera. Again, because it was just a hobby of his, how he did it, nobody fucking knows. Nobody knows. This resulted in a microphotograph about 3 square millimeters, 0.0047 square inches in area. The main disadvantage of Dancer's method was that the viewing of the microphotographs required a microscope, which was at the time an expensive instrument. Where would you fucking keep microphotographs to begin with? I've never heard of microphotographs before. I can't keep doing this today. I'm exhausted. I'm fucking done. I need to stop. We'll just have to keep doing this tomorrow, I guess. Because pigeons and stanhopes and oh my god. Go check out the links in the description. Go get your free download. Go do what you need to do. Have yourself a great day. And you pedophiles, fucking kill yourself.